Roth IRA versus IUL. Which one wins for retirement? Roth IRA or an individual retirement agreement. Some people know it as, and most people call it, individual or independent retirement account. Versus an IUL. IUL is an index universal life insurance policy. Know the difference. What's up, family? It's your Asset Protector here. And today I want to simplify, according to ChatGPT now, I want to simplify the most searched for retirement tools. And that's according to ChatGPT. I didn't make that up. Statistically, I asked ChatGPT, and that's what it told me. And so the Roth IRA and the IUL, and I want to break down the difference. So both of them are tax-free vehicles, but which one actually wins in the long run for you? And as I'm talking, I want you to think about your situation, right? I know some of you may know a lot about this, and some of you may even have some of these these plans, but that doesn't mean that you fully understand how they work, okay? So I want to unpack 5 key points that could change how you plan your retirement and build generational wealth on purpose. All right, let's dive into it, shall we? Taxes. To be taxed or not? That is the question. So, taxes. Pay now or later. Pay now or pay later. First up, let's talk about the Roth IRA. The Roth IRA is funded with after-tax dollars. That means you pay Uncle Sam. No, strike that, not Uncle Sam. My note said Uncle Sam. That means you pay the IRS, because Uncle Sam ain't my uncle. If he was, he'd treat me a lot better than he does with my money, especially living in California, because the taxes are horrendous. So you either pay the government now or you can pay later. But your growth and withdrawals in retirement, so tax-free, sounds good, right? But the Index Universal Life Insurance policy is also funded with after-tax dollars as well, right? So pay now or pay later. In these two situations, we both talking about both of them, you're going to pay now, meaning that you've already been taxed on it. So you don't want to put your taxes that you've already been taxed, your pre-tax dollars, in something that you have to pay taxes again. That's all I'm saying. So if you're doing that, then I would caution you to go back and reevaluate whether or not that might be a smart money move or not, okay? So here's the kicker. Now, the IUL is life insurance based. In other words, it has to be life insurance. That's just all there is to it. I don't care how much money you want to put into it or anything like that. You have to structure it so that it is considered a life insurance policy, okay? So keep that in mind. So when it's structured properly, your cash value grows tax-free because you already paid it, tax deferred, okay? It's tax deferred, all right? And you can borrow against it tax-free because you've already paid the taxes on it with no age restrictions or limitations on your income. So which one wins? Well, if you believe taxes are going to go up in the future, and let's be real, they probably are. They've been going up since the beginning of time. They've been up, down, but they've been trending upward historically. So you want to make a decision based on the history. How has this thing been performing in the past? If you're going to hire someone on a job, you're going to look at their past job, history. If they've been on a job and they stay there for 6 months and then leave, or they quit the job, then is this a person that's in line with your professional, with your business trajectory? Are they likely to leave you too? So that's just something to think about with the taxes, up and down, but still they're trending upward. All right. So the IUL, it lets you access your money before your age of 59 and a half without penalty. Let me say that again. You can get your money before you turn 59 and a half, penalty free. Keep that in mind. On your job, maybe you have a 401k, and if you need to get money out of that 401k, guess what? It's going to hit you. You're going to have to pay before you're 59 and a half. You're going to get, if you take it out before you're 59 and a half, you're going to have to pay a 10% levy, right? You have to pay a 10% levy on your money. So you want to think about that. Do you think you might need money before you're 59 and a half, right? Maybe you're raising children and your children are going to be going to college, or one of you have a child going to college, or whatever the case might be. You want to start a business, then guess what? You might want to pull some of that money so you have that liquidity without having the penalty. Growth potential and risk. Now, let's talk growth. In the Roth IRA, investment depends on the stock market, right? Things like mutual funds and ETFs, right? Hedge funds and all that stuff. That means you're exposed to the market gains. So when the market goes up, you're making money, but you're also subject to the losses of the market. In other words, we'll talk about that zero and the threshold shortly. But when the market goes up, and let's say you're already here and the market goes up, you're making money. But let's say the market crashed, right? Then if that happens, then you're gonna lose. Whereas with the IUL, if the market goes up, and then the market goes down, what's going to actually happen is that you're going to come down to a point of zero, and you're going to stop. So in other words, there's no -1, all right? It's no zero, minus, and all that good stuff. It's just zero. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in a moment, okay? So you're exposed to the market gains, but you're also exposed to the losses as well. Now, if you think about it, you have $100,000 in whatever plan you got it in, whether it's in the bank, whether it's in insurance, whether it's in a Roth IRA, a traditional IRA, who cares? You have $100,000 in your account, but the account is not making money right now. Can you, as they say in church, can you look down your road right and left and tell your neighbors which one you're going to be ticked off the most about, not gaining or losing what you already have? So that IUL, on the other hand, what it does for you is that your hands are not tied, basically. They're not tied into the market. Like your money's in the market, right? Like an index like an S&P 500, but you're not directly tied to the market. So if you're talking to a fiduciary or an insurance agent or whomever, or financial person, and they telling you your money that you're operating or you're participating in the stock market, you're not participating in the stock market. All you're doing is you're overpaying your life insurance. So let's say your insurance costs $100 a month, but you want to put in $1,000. $100 gonna go towards your insurance because you got to pay for your insurance, and then the rest of that money, or a portion of that money, is going to be participating with a group of money in a bucket that the insurance company is going to collect, right? Keeping your money safe because they're not using your money, right? We'll get into borrowing on the face of your money and all that. Right now, I'm just talking about how it works in the stock market. It's not like you buying Bitcoin. It's not like you're buying Apple stock, right? Or Nvidia. You're not doing that. They're just using the face of your money against the face of your money and taking that money and putting it over into the stock market. Now, that money goes into the stock market, and then there's a return. Now, think about it. If you put in $1,000 a month into the stock market, or $900 a month, and I'm only putting in $250 a month, then the return is going to be greater because the risk is different. So they're putting in more of my money, right, and risking more of my money. So shouldn't I get more money than you get if I'm putting in nearly $1,000 and you only putting in $250, or you putting in $1,000, I'm only putting in $250? Shouldn't you get more money? Of course, because you're putting more money in, or they're taking more money, and your money putting in is a higher risk. So the return is going to definitely be predicated on the risk factor. When the market goes up, You can earn capped returns. Some of these plans don't even have caps. They say uncapped. So if the market goes, with capped returns, it could be trending around 8 to 10% usually. But let's say that is no cap. It could go up to 13%. Or, it could go higher in some cases. I doubt it, but it could go up to 13 or 14%, because it's uncapped. So when the market drops, you don't lose a dime. Again, thanks to that zero floor, right? So that zero floor, that zero becomes your hero. That's a little thing that we like to say in this business. Zero is your hero. So when you think about zero interest, like when you have to pay money and zero interest, that's great, because you're not paying interest, right? But what about when you're not losing money? See, that zero can be a duality and work in your favor. So you got to think about a few things. Your age, you think about risk tolerance, you got to think about income that you have coming in, you got to think about how much money you need to live off of month to month. If you have children, you got to think about that. You have to have incidental money. You should have at least 6 months of your rent or mortgage or incidentals, rather, saved up anyway. So before you even move into an apartment, I know you're ready to get out your mom's house, but before you're tired of their rules, but when you get out there and you don't have that money saved up, guess what? Guess who you're going to call? The same people you can't stand. The same people whose guts that you hate. Mom and dad. And guess who's going to bail your butt out? Mom and dad. Now, of course, if you're older, that's not the case. So I'm speaking to younger people. Don't be so sensitive. All right? So here's the translation. The IUL protects your principal while giving you upside potential. Now, for folks that's retiring or reaching that retirement age, and I just talked about the difference. I was talking to the young folks before, and now I'm talking to older people. You're 55 and older, and now you're ready to start thinking about retirement, right? What you can afford, what losses that you can afford. And with that IUL, that peace of mind, my friend, is what I call a definite game changer. I want to talk next about access and flexibility. Remember I talked about 59.5 earlier? Well, that IRA has restrictions. You can't touch that money. You can't touch your earnings until you're 59.5. Now, you can get it if you have a qualified reason, like you want to buy a first home, right? Or maybe the home you're in might have gotten damaged with flood or fire, and you need to rebuild or reconstruct, right? You may need to go into the hospital and you don't have the money to pay for the procedure you need to take, right? Well, there's something that's life-saving or it could be cosmetic. Either way, you don't have the money for that. So you have to have a qualified reason to get that money without getting that penalty. Otherwise, you're going to get hit with a penalty. All right? So, but with the IUL, let's think about ATM, but not quite ATM, right? So close, but not quite. With the IUL, now here you can access your cash value anytime you want to for any reason without IRS penalties. Meaning you're under 59.5 and you're not going to get hit with that 10%. You don't have to have justification as to why you need that money. If you go to the ATM, you don't have to cite a reason why you need to take out $10,000. Well, $1,000, I don't think you can get $10,000 out of most ATMs. But you don't have to show a reason, cause why you need that money. If you want to fund your kids' education, no problem. If you want to start up a new business, no problem. If you want to take a vacation, no problem. If you need something to help start a fire in your house, now that's illegal, but you don't have to explain to it and no one will ever know. That's what you call tax-free liquidity on demand. Tax-free liquidity on demand. And here's a bonus. With that IUL now, borrowing against that policy and not withdrawing it. So you keep cash and you keep your cash growing. Okay, so when you borrow instead of withdrawing, because see, when you're drawing, now you're letting the air out. You're taking from the face value, you're taking from the actual cash. But if you take out a loan, guess what? Two things. First and foremost, you don't have to pay taxes because it is illegal. It's against the law to pay taxes on your loan. And number two, your money is still working for you. Now that's compound interest at work without interruption. How cool is that? Point number four, contribution limits and income. Now with the Roth IRA, it has limits. Depending on your age, you can only put in a certain amount. If you're under 50 years old, you can only put in $7,000 a year. Now, if you're over 8,000, if you're over 50, so if you're 50 and plus, you can put in over, you can contribute over 8,000, up to $8,000 a year. If you're under 50, you can put up to 7,000. If you're over 50, you can put up to 8,000. Okay, got it? Under 50, you can contribute up to $7,000 in a calendar year. And I mean from January to December, you can put that in. All right. Now, if you're 50 and older, you can put in up to $8,000 in your contribution, right? Without having any issues. Now, let's say you're a person that has a high income. If you are in an income bracket that's too high, you can't even qualify for an IRA. And if you meet right at that threshold, guess what? You still can only put in a certain amount based on your age. So you're a high income earner, and let's say you're making $250,000 per year, like you, right? Just listen to this. You're making $250,000 a year, and you can only put in $7,000 into saving. Now, if that was the case, now your hands are tied. So now that is restricting you from being able to grow. And so now you're being treated like a person that's making $50,000 a year, $100,000 a year. And that's not fair to you, but there are certain options out there, like the IUL, which has no income limits. It has no contribution caps. Make much money as you want, put in much money as you want to, but here's the kicker, right? If you're a high income earner, or you want to dump in a large lump sum to grow your money faster, then the IUL gives you that flexibility. It's perfect for those who have maxed out in traditional plans like your 401k on your job, and you want more control over your money to be able to grow your money more aggressively, okay? Keep that in mind. Now, as we're talking about dumping in an unlimited amount, you got to set that up from the beginning. Because if you don't set that up from the beginning, let's say you want to put in $1,000, it will allow you to put in a certain amount per year. If you go 1 penny over that amount, then it is no longer treated like life insurance, because your money, that your cash value, it becomes higher than your death benefit. If your cash accumulation becomes greater than the death benefit, then at that point, it's going to become what's called a MEC, M-E-C, Modified Endowment Contract, which means now it's going to be treated like your taxes, right? You're going to be treated like it's income. And so you don't want to be in that situation. The purpose of getting it is so that you can grow your money without having to pay all of the taxes, because you've already paid your taxes, right? So you have that flexibility and control. And my fifth and final point is legacy and protection. Now, here's something that most people overlook: protection and legacy. Now, with the Roth IRA, it has no built-in life insurance, so there your legacy is out the door. And you can only build but so much, because how much money in 10 years, if you put in $7,000, that's only $70,000 that you contributed, and you compound that, and or if you put in $8,000, that's only $80,000. Whereas, what if you can put in $8,000 a month, right? $8,000 a month, or you want to put in $100,000 a month. It depends on where you are financially and what you're trying to do. And this is ways to help you offset some of your tax situation, to mitigate, if you will, your tax situation, okay? So if something happens to you, or when something happens to you, because you're going to die, I'm sorry to be the one to tell you, but you're going to be checking up out of here in a matter of time. So get your house in order, okay? Before Jesus come back, get your house in order. Don't just get your soul in order, but make sure that you get your house in order and get your foundation in order so that your family will be taken care of and you can forge generational wealth. A lot of us, we come in life and we make money. It's just me, mine, I. And the reason why the family is not growing, the family is struggling, is because you ain't leaving them nothing. And a couple of generations, they ain't gonna know who you are anyway, because you didn't leave anything. All right? So, like I said, when something happens to you, your family gets the account value, period. Plus, they get the death benefit. So IULs are based on life insurance. That means your loved one get the tax-free death benefit and they get the cash value. How does that work? I'm glad you asked. So let's say you have $40,000 in cash value. Right? You haven't had the policy that long, but you have $40,000 in cash value. That is inclusive with what you put in and the interest that it has grown. But you have $100,000 policy that started out, and now the policy is at $200,000. So now they get the $200,000 death benefit plus the $40,000 in cash value. They get the cash accumulation value. So now they get a tax-free sum of $240,000. That's how you create generational wealth, and that's how you control from the grave. You are making a difference when you die. Don't be like the song that says Papa was a rolling stone, and wherever he laid his hat was his home. And when he died, all he left us, the family, his wife and children, all he left us was a loan. And I don't mean a loan to pay back. I mean A-L-O-N-E, not A-L-O-A-N, but he just left us alone and struggling. So if you are serious about helping your family to build, generational wealth, then this is something you need to talk about. So even if you never touch that policy, it still creates an instant legacy that you can pass on to the next generation. And if you have children, you want your children to do better than you. You're not jealous of your children. You're not competing against your children. Then you want your children to do better than you. So put a system in place to leave them something to help them with a leg up. Maybe, people wouldn't have to struggle so much, go through so much, if families could just come together and wrap their heads around concepts like this and then actually mobilize and put a system like this in place. Because, I was watching a video the other day on Instagram and a lady said, I told my children to take the biggest policy out on me they can. To get the biggest policy you can get. She said, and I'm going to help you pay for the policy. Because mama is going to die one day. And when I die, I want to make sure that you're taken care of. And that's what I call love. And that's what my mom instilled in us. Plus, many IULs come with living benefits like critical illnesses, right? Chronic illness or terminal illness. What does that mean? Critical, chronic, and terminal illness just means that you have an illness. Like, you have an illness where you can't do like 2 of the 5 or 6 daily activities. You can't use the bathroom by yourself. You find yourself using the bathroom on yourself. You can't walk from one room to the other. They call it transferring. You can't move from one chair or from the wheelchair to the couch. You can't get in bed by yourself. You can't feed yourself. Things like that, right? Or you have a terminal illness, right? That you're going to be passing away within 12 months. Some insurance companies allow you up to 24 months, but most of them, you're going to expire. You're going to die within 12 months. So then you can access some of that money. And so that's protection that you can use while you're still living. It might help to pay bills or whatever you need to do. It doesn't matter. The only reason you're getting the money is because you're sick and you're chronically or critically ill, right? Or either you're terminally ill, meaning that you have a death sentence and you're going to die within a certain period of time. It's an unfortunate thing, but that's part of life and it happens. So there's no need to get in that situation and then say, what can I do? It's best to prepare yourself ahead of time. My mom always taught us to prepare for war during peacetime. And she would always say, don't. I don't know why she talked about Russia, but she would say, if Russia going to shoot a bomb over to the United States need to have that system already in place before they start shooting. You know what I mean? Police officers put on ballistic vests, or you call it bulletproof vests. They don't wait to get in a shootout with some idiot on the street before they say, let me put on my vest. This idiot is shooting at me. He already has that vest on because of that protection, and he wants to protect his life, and he wants to get back home to his family, those people who really love him, and not those thugs and crazy people that are shooting at him in the street. Shout out to all police officers. Shout out to first responders. Shout out to educators and all of those who make a difference in my life, our lives, our children's lives, and that you're doing something in the community. Those of you who are volunteering for food kitchens or soup kitchens or whatever, I tell you right now, my heart goes out to you. And thank you. I just want to say thank you for all that you do, all that you have done and continue to do. And we thank God for you today. And we hope and wish and pray for your safety, your sanctification, for your growth and prosperity surrounding you and your family for generations to come. So, Roth IRA versus IUL. Who wins? I'll just laid it out to you. Roth IRA versus IUL. Which one wins? Well, the truth is, it depends on your goals. If you're just starting out and want a simple retirement account, then the Roth IRA is a solid foundation for you. But now, if you want a tax-free income, access or liquidity to your funds when you need them, protection, and let me say this again, tax-free income, access to your funds when you need them, tax-free income, access to your funds when you need them, liquidity, hello, liquidity, downside protection. Remember I talked about that zero floor, and the zero being your hero, and you want to leave a legacy, then the IUL might be the smartest long-term move that you never knew existed. Think about it like this way. You go into a store. Let's just say you go into Macy's, and you go over into the men's section and you want to look at a suit because you came in there to buy a suit. You walk in and you try on several suits. And you say, I like this one, and you walk out. And then I go over to King Richard's tailor shop, right? King Richard Suits. I'm King Richard. Go over to King Richard Suits. And you come over to the tailor-made place where I make suits in, and one of my tailors make a suit. Now, the first thing they're going to do is they're going to take out a measuring tool. They're not going to say try it on because you're making it from scratch, right? They make it from scratch. So they're going to make that based on how you're built. Some people need a little bit more breathing room in the ab section, right? Some people might have broader shoulders, right? Or may have a longer torso. And so when you look at that suit, I don't care if the person is obese, overweight, oversized, a Mack truck, I don't care. Anybody that's wearing a suit that's tailor-made, that suit is going to look good on them. I guarantee you that. Put my money where my mouth is. As opposed to you just putting on a cookie cutter. You walk in and they got medium or large or 44s and 42, and you look on the side, I have some suits, they fit me good across here, but then they go pull all the way out, the button pull way out, like 6 feet in front of me. I don't want that suit. I don't want it sloppy. I work out, so I like things to fit, be a little more fitted to me, and to be a little more custom and show off my physique. I don't work out so hard to go to Macy's and get a suit. Now, I might go to Macy's and buy a suit that's on sale, but then have that suit made to the dimensions of my body, custom to my body, right? So that's pretty much it between the IUL showdown and the Roth IRA. So if this is something that you want help with building a custom account with, then you want plans that's gonna fit your own retirement, life strategies, right? And even before retirement, you need to borrow money or whatever your own plans are, then I would say head on over to unitedprosperity.com and schedule a free conversation with me, and do it today. Don't continue to wait, because every month you put this off, you're losing money, you're leaving money on the table. So reach out to me today. Go on my website. I repeat, that is unitedprosperity.com, and it's on my page. You just look on my main page, and it'll bring you right to the link. You can pull up my calendar on there. It says book. Go on to my booking tab, and then you can look on there and see what's available. Schedule a time to talk with me, and I'll reach out to you. So let's build prosperity together on purpose. Bye for now.